Hello, chess fans! This is Rick from Chess to Progress with number 27 in the series Viewers Games. This one is from Evan from the US. Hello, I'm Evan from the US and I'm a true beginner of chess and have no idea about any openings or specific tactics. Here's a game I played in 10-minute blitz. I'm black, my British opponent is white. I had put myself in a fantastic position for the endgame, but my phone had died just before we could finish, so tactically I lost the game. Any tips for the future so I can further my game? That was from Evan. Let's look at Evan's game. Evan was black in this game, and before we start you asked for any tips for the future so you can further your game. The first tip is yes, from this game it's quite clear that you are a true beginner, as you say yourself, and I think you should try to play longer games which give you more time to consider your moves, especially when you play on your phone, because it's more difficult to see the board. So if you want to improve, Evan, play longer games, longer time control. 10 minutes is really not a lot of time if you are a beginner. But let's have a look at your game. Your opponent played e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, and bishop c4. So far so good, both players developing their pieces, having a pawn in the center. Excellent first few moves. And now Evan played d5. And this is the first tip. It's always important to look, is a move safe? In this case, that pawn on d5 is attacked 3 times by pawn, knight and bishop, and only defended twice by knight and queen. So attacked 3 times and defended twice, that means white can win that pawn, he can take. So the move is not safe. So if you want to improve, it's really important every time you make a move to check before you make the move, is the move safe? Can my opponent not just take it? Instead of d5, which is not a good move because it's not safe, it would have made sense to play something like bishop c5, developing your pieces. White didn't see it, he didn't take on d5, he's played bishop b5. And Evan played bishop d7. Pawn d5 is still attacked twice, and now only defended once. It's attacked by pawn and knight, and after bishop d7 it's only protected by the knight. So white can take it, and he did. Evan took back, he takes d5, that has now won a pawn for white. The knight is attacked, knight a5, bishop takes, queen queen e2, and here Evan castled queenside. Queen takes e5, double question mark, big blunder, because Evan had spotted the refutation of that pawn grab. Rook e8, and the queen is pinned to the king. Well spotted, Evan, well spotted this tactic. White makes it even worse, he played queen e4, and after rook takes e4 it's a full queen that he has lost. He doesn't even get a rook back for it. King steps aside, Evan took another pawn, d3, rook e6, bishop d2, b6, g3, and bishop c5. And this is tip number 2. On every move, Evan, you should check if you can capture something. Are there any unprotected pieces in my opponent's camp? And are there any unprotected pieces in my own camp? In this case, after g3, white has given up the protection of the knight on f3, and you could just have played queen takes f3, winning another piece. So that's the second tip. Always check if there's any pieces that you can capture. Instead, Evan played bishop c5, knight g5, attacking Evan's rook, and you may want to put the video on hold and see if you can find the winning move for black. Black could have won the game on the spot with queen takes h1, because that is checkmate. And that's the third tip, Evan. Always check for checks that could be good for you. Of course, it's important to not give check just because it's there, but check is a forcing move, and it's always good to check forcing moves first. So in this case, if you had looked for checks, you would have seen that queen takes h1 is checkmate. Evan didn't see it. He also didn't see that his rook was attacked. He played queen e5, and now white did not take the rook, but took on f7 with a fork, forking queen and rook. And Evan could have got out of trouble with queen e2 check, an in-between move to save the queen. He didn't see it. He also didn't see the attack on this queen, and he played rook e to e8. White took the queen, rook takes, bishop f4, and rook e6. Well done, Evan. You saw that the rook was attacked and you retreated the rook. Black is still winning, still has extra material. c3, bishop d6, king g2, rook f6, rook ae1, rook d8, and bishop g5, skewering the rooks. The skewer is a strong tactical motif, and you can only learn this through practice, so I'm not too worried that you didn't see the skewer coming. Bishop e7, and the first tip applies here again. Bishop e7 is not a safe move. There's a rook on e1 who can take that bishop. White didn't see it. He played bishop takes f6. Evan took back, and now a few very strange moves from white. Played rook e7, also not safe. So Evan saw it and he took. Rook e1, attacking the bishop. Evan saw that. He played bishop c5, and white gave another rook away on the same square. Evan said thank you very much. He took it, and now he's a ton of material up again. b4, knight c6, b5, hitting the knight, knight back to a5, d4, g5, g4, knight c4, f4, Evan took, king f3, bishop d6, good job Evan, protecting your pawn, well done, g5, knight d2 check, king g4, knight f1, attacking the pawn, h4, and another good move from Evan, knight d2, returning with the knight to d2, with the right idea to advance the f-pawn. The knight covers the f3 square. h5 from white, and there goes Evan on his way to a new queen. g6, take, rook g8, king f5, f2, king f6, Evan promoted with check, king g5, bishop f8, d5, knight f3 check, king f6, bishop g7, king f7. And Evan writes, it was at this moment that my phone died. It was the blunder of queen e4 that put me in a far stronger position than otherwise. Later I blundered my queen away, but a series of blunders on white's side after that won the game for me. Yes indeed, Evan, because you have a mate in 2 here after king f7. You could have played, if your phone had not died, you could have played knight g5 check. And if the king takes the rook, then queen f8 is checkmate. And if the king goes to e7 instead, which is the only other move, the only other legal move, then queen f8 checkmate can be played as well. So to recap, Evan, you played a good game. I think you should play with a longer time control to give you more time to think about your moves. And the concrete tips are, the first one, always check when you make a move if it's safe, if it cannot just be taken by your opponent. The second one, are there any pieces that I can take or that my opponent could take? Are there any pieces hanging? And the third one, are there any checks that could help me? Dan Heisman is an American chess trainer, a very famous chess trainer, and he always talks about checks, captures and threats. So start with the checks and the captures and you will already have made a big step to becoming a better player. So good luck with your game, Evan. Please keep me up to date on how you're getting on, and thanks for sending me this game. Hope you enjoyed Evan's adventure and that you share his pain of his phone dying just when he had Mate in 2. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess2 Progress channel, please leave a comment and please share the video on social media. You also may want to check out my Chess2 Impress channel, the link is in the description box. Also in the description box is the playlist to all the Viewers Games videos. This is Rick from Chess2 Progress. Thank you very much for watching.